Hello and welcome to the program Aqua Farming, where we'll look at all those things you need to know about the living thing in the water. Most at times, we talk about fish because it is one of the most popular living organisms in the water. But today is quite a bit different because we'll be talking about shrimp farming in Nigeria. Have we ever thought of shrimp farming as a business opportunity? This episode of the program Aqua Farming looks at shrimp farming and things you need to know if you wish to set up a shrimp farm. Have you ever thought of shrimp farming as a business opportunity? This episode of the program Aqua Farming looks at shrimp farming and the things you need to know if you wish to set up a shrimp farm. Shrimps are small aquatic animals belonging to the subphylum of crustaceans, which include other marine animals like crabs, lobsters, and crayfish. Shrimps are closely related to prawns and name is used interchangeably for either creatures. This is understandable, as there is really no universally agreed distinction between them. Shrimps are found in both brackish and freshwater bodies and are found in virtually all the marine bodies of the world. They often range in sizes from really minutes to quite large, often weighing as much as 15 pounds. Shrimps are low in calories and are sources of underrated fat, which makes them good for human body. Although previously consumed as an exotic food, it is now more commonplace in diets of man. Its increasing consumption amongst the average populace has not reduced its market value, as it remains the most valuable sector of the global seafood industry. Shrimp farming can be very profitable business. In fact, it's a multi-million-dollar industry. And the best part is you can get into shrimp farming at any scale right from your home. Sit back and take a look at this very interesting episode of the program Aqua Farming, where we'll look at how to go into shrimp farming business in Nigeria.
Nigeria is one of the world's largest shrimp producers. The country's warm climate and extensive coastline provide ideal conditions for shrimp farming. As a result, shrimp farming in Nigeria is a lucrative business. Shrimp farming is a viable option for Nigeria as it has the potential to provide employment and income for many people. In addition, the country has the necessary resources to support this industry, including a large coastline and a suitable climate. Therefore, shrimp farming can become a successful enterprise in Nigeria with proper planning and management. Someone will want to ask, is shrimp farming profitable in Nigeria? Yes, shrimp farming can be profitable in Nigeria. This is because the country has a large coastline with many estuaries and lagoon systems ideal for shrimp farming. In addition, the climate is warm and humid, which is also conducive to shrimp farming. There are many factors for determining whether or not shrimp farming is profitable in Nigeria. These include the cost of inputs such as feed, feedstock, and fingerlings, the price of output shrimp, and the productivity of farm. Generally speaking, shrimp farming is more labor intensive than other types of aquaculture. This means that labor cost is often a significant factor in determining profitability. In Nigeria, however, cheap labor is abundant, which makes shrimp farming more viable. Someone will ask, why is shrimp found in Nigeria? Nigeria is blessed with an abundant shrimp supply due to many coastal and mangrove areas within the Niger Delta region. Some of Nigeria's best shrimp farming places and locations include Lagos, Ogun, Delta, Rivers, and Edo states. These states offer the perfect combination of climate, water availability, and infrastructure to support a successful shrimp farming business. Now, let's talk about shrimp farming equipment in Nigeria. If you want to get into shrimp farming in Nigeria, you will need some basic equipment. These include a pond or a tank, an aeration system, a filtration system, heaters. You will also need some netting to keep the shrimp and predators out. Now, how do you start a shrimp farm in Nigeria? Number 1, find a suitable location. Shrimp farm needs to be located near coastal water where the water temperature is warm enough for shrimp to survive. The site should also have good water quality and access to fresh water. 2. Build ponds. Once you've found a suitable location, you will need to construct ponds for a shrimp farm. The size and depth of the pond will depend on the type of shrimp you are raising and the production system you are using. Number 3. Stock your ponds. You will need to purchase juvenile shrimp from a hatchery and stock them in your ponds. The stocking density will vary depending on the shrimp species and the production system used. Number 4. Feed your shrimp. Shrimp are omnivorous and eat almost anything, but they prefer live food such as algae, small fish, crustaceans, and worms. Now, when we want to ask how long does it take to raise a shrimp in Nigeria? It takes approximately 2 to 3 months to raise shrimp in Nigeria. Now, is shrimp business really profitable? Of course, shrimps are profitable in Nigeria. The country's large coastline provides an ideal environment for shrimp farming. Shrimp farming is a relatively new industry in Nigeria, but has already created jobs and generated income for many small-scale families. Shrimp farming is a lucrative business because the demand for shrimp is high and the price of shrimp is relatively stable. In addition, shrimp farming does not require a lot of land or labor, making it a more efficient form of agriculture than other types of livestock or crop production. What we want to ask is indoor shrimp farming profitable in Nigeria? Indoor shrimp farming can be profitable in Nigeria. The main reason are the high demand for shrimp and relatively low cost of starting and maintaining an indoor shrimp farm. How big of a tank does a shrimp need? It is recommended that farmers use tanks that are at least 16 square meters in size for shrimp farming. This allows for a high density of shrimp to be farmed, resulting in higher yield. Freshwater shrimp farming in Nigeria is a growing industry with great potential. The climate and topography of Nigeria are well suited for shrimp farming, and the country has a long coastline with many mangrove forests, which provide ideal habitat for shrimp. Nigerian shrimp farms are typically small operations, often family-run businesses. The average farm size is about 2 hectares, and most farmers use traditional pond construction and management methods. In recent years, however, some larger companies have begun to operate farms in Nigeria using more intensive production methods with favorable conditions and growing demand from local and international markets. Nigerian shrimp farming industry is poised for further growth in the incoming years. In the coming years. Now, let's look at steps to start a shrimp farming. The first thing you will do to start a shrimp farming is research the industry. Shrimp farming is a complex business, so you must understand all aspects before getting started. This includes learning about the different species of shrimps, their feeding habits, and the life cycle of shrimp. Number 2, get the necessary permits and licenses. You want to obtain a license from the Nigerian government to operate a shrimp farm. Number 3, find a suitable location. Your shrimp farm location will need access to fresh water and be close to the ocean. It should also have good drainage and be protected from strong winds. In addition, you will need access to clean water and suitable climate for shrimp farming. 4, build or buy the necessary infrastructure. These includes ponds, tanks, aerotols, pumps, and other equipment needed for shrimp farming. Number 5, stock your ponds with shrimp larvae or post larvae. You can purchase these from a hatchery or grow them using brine shrimp eggs. Number 6, feed the shrimp regularly and monitor the water quality closely. Shrimp require a high protein diet and must be fed several times daily. Number 6, create a shrimp farm business plan. This will help you to map out the details of your business and find potential investors. Number 8, monitor your shrimp farm. Regularly check the water quality and temperature. Feed your shrimp appropriately. Number 9, harvest your shrimp. Shrimp are typically ready for harvest after 4 to 6 months. Number 10, process and package your shrimp. This can be done on site or at a processing facility. Number 11, market and sell the shrimp. There are various options including online, wholesale, and retail outlets. Now, let's look at different shrimps farming techniques in Nigeria. Number one, marine shrimp culture. In this method, shrimp raising in saltwater ponds, large-scale commercial operation, typically use this method. Marine shrimp farm can be found along the coastlines of Nigeria. 2. Freshwater shrimp farming. In this method, shrimp raising in freshwater ponds, small-scale operations typically use the methods. Freshwater shrimp farms can be found in inland ways for the coastlines of Nigeria. Indoor shrimp farming. Shrimp are raised in tanks or enclosed systems. In methods of these, the method can be used by both small and large-scale operators. Indoor shrimp farm can be found in coastal and inland areas of Nigeria. Now, let's look at site selection for shrimp farming in Nigeria. The step in shrimp farming is to select a suitable site. The site must have shallow water with a sandy bottom and little vegetation. It should also be close to a source of fresh, clean water. In Nigeria, there are many potential sites for shrimp farming. One such site is the mangrove forest along the Niger Delta. These forests provide an ideal habitat for shrimp as they are rich in plankton and other microorganisms they feed on. The next step is to prepare the pond for shrimp farming. These involve clearing the pond of debris, leveling the bottom, and adding sand or mud to create a sloped edge. Now, let's look at types of shrimp species. White-leg shrimps. White-leg shrimps are Nigeria's most popular type of shrimp farming. They are fast-growing and have a high survival rate. 2. Cherry shrimp. Cherry shrimp are also popular but grow more slowly and have a lower survival rate. Number 3. Pandalus borealis. Pandalus borealis is the least popular type of shrimp farm in Nigeria due to its slow growth and rate and low survival rate. Now, let's look at methods of shrimp farming in Nigeria. Intensive shrimp farming is more common method in Nigeria. It involves raising shrimp in ponds or tanks with strict water quality and temperature control. This method requires more input and labor but can result in higher yields. Extensive shrimp farming is less common in Nigeria, but is practiced in some coastal areas. It involves raising shrimp in ponds or tanks with less water quality and temperature control. This method requires fewer inputs and labor but can result in lower yields. Now, let's look at caring and other management tips for shrimp farming in Nigeria. Maintain cleanliness. Shrimp are sensitive to water quality and will not do well in unclean or polluted water. Be sure to regularly test the water quality and make changes when necessary to keep the shrimp healthy. 2. Keep an eye on temperature. Shrimp prefer cooler water and will not do well in too warm water. Be sure to monitor the water temperature and take steps to keep it cool if necessary. Monitor for predators. Several predators can threaten shrimp, including birds, fish, and even crabs. Be sure to take measures to protect your shrimp from these predators. Provide adequate food. Shrimp needs a high quality diet to thrive. For sure to provide plenty of food rich in nutrients. Now, water quality for shrimp farming. It is an important factor in shrimp farming. Shrimp are very sensitive to changes in water quality and can easily be killed by poor water quality. The main water quality parameters that must be monitored in shrimp farming are temperature, pH, dissolved oxygen, ammonia, nitrites, and salinity. Dissolved oxygen is the most important parameter, as shrimp need high level of dissolved oxygen in water to breathe. Ammonia and nitrates are also very toxic to shrimp and must be kept at very low level. Salinity is also an important parameter as shrimps are very sensitive to changes in salinity levels. Let's look at feed. Shrimp feed is typically made of pellets that contain a mix of fish meal, soybean, milk corn, gluten meal, and other ingredients. The diet are supplemented with vitamins and minerals to ensure optimal shrimp growth. Feeding is done 2 to 3 times per day. and feeding rates vary depending on the shrimp's growth stage. Now, let's look at the challenges associated with shrimp farming in Nigeria. There are many challenges associated with shrimp farming, including environmental degradation, water pollution, social issues such as forced evictions and child labor. Shrimp farming can lead to severe environmental degradation. The intensive nature of shrimp production often leads to the overuse of chemicals and antibiotics, which can pollute waterways and harm local ecosystems. In addition, shrimp farms often destroy mangrove forests to make way for ponds and further contribute to habitat loss. Water pollution is another major concern associated with shrimp farming. Wastewater from shrimp ponds can contain high nitrogen and phosphorus level, leading to algae blooms and oxygen depletion is receiving waters. These can create serious problems for local fisheries and those who depend on them for their livelihoods. Finally, there are also serious social issues associated with shrimp farming in Nigeria. One will want to ask, how do you make shrimp grow faster? Several things can be done to make shrimp grow faster. One is to provide them with a high quality diet. This means giving them a balanced diet with the essential nutrient they need for growth. Another way to make shrimp grow faster is to provide them with a clean and spacious environment. This means keeping their tank clean and debris free and providing them with plenty of room. Finally, keeping the water temperature as a consistent level is important. This will ensure that the shrimp are comfortable and able to grow at their fastest rates. Now, let's look at marketing for shrimp farming. Marketing your shrimp farming can be challenging, but there are some key things you can do to get started. First, it's important to understand the local markets for shrimp. Once you understand the local markets, you can begin to develop a marketing strategy. One option is to work for a marketing firm specializing in agriculture business that can help you create a brand and develop a marketing plan to reach your target audience. Another option is to sell your shrimp directly to restaurants and grocery stores. These can be a great method to start, but you need to ensure you are pricing your shrimp competitively. You may also consider setting up your website or online store so people can purchase shrimp from you directly. No matter your marketing strategy, it's important to be patient and consistent. Marketing your shrimp farming business takes time and effort, but if you stick with it, you eventually see results. Let's look at the problems associated with shrimp farming in Nigeria. The important factor to consider is a disease. Shrimp are partially susceptible to disease, which can quickly decimate a farm stock and lead to financial losses. In Nigeria, many diseases affect shrimp farms, including yellow head virus and white spot syndrome virus. Although there is no guarantee method to prevent these diseases from occurring, good management practices can help minimize their impact. Assuming all factors are favorable, shrimp farming can be lucrative in Nigeria. With proper management and careful consideration of cost and risks, farmers can achieve profitability and enjoy such in this industry. One of the biggest problems is water pollution. Shrimp farms discharge large amounts of wastewater into the environment, which can pollute waterways, and harm marine life. Another problem is the use of harmful chemicals and antibiotics in shrimp farming. These chemicals can leach into the environment and contaminate water supplies. They can also cause health problems for people who eat contaminated seafood. Finally, shrimp farms often destroy mangrove forests, which are important ecosystems that provide habitat for many fish species and other wildlife. Mangrove deforestation can seriously affect local ecosystems, and the problem also mainly depends on them for their livelihoods. Now, let's look about Shrimp farming setup cost in Nigeria. The average cost of setting up a shrimp farm in Nigeria is between 13,500 and 16,000. These include the cost of leasing land, construction ponds, and buying fingerlings. In addition, the cost of labor and other inputs such as feed and electricity can vary depending on the farm's location. Nevertheless, profit margin for shrimp farm can be quite high. This is because the demand for shrimp is very high. Therefore, well-run shrimp farms and low cost can make much money. Now, let's look at shrimp farm loans and subsidies. Shrimp farm loans. Shrimp farming has been growing in popularity. The industry offers a lucrative opportunity for small-scale farmers to earn a good income. However, starting a shrimp farm can be expensive. Several government initiatives offers loans and subsidies to help farmers get started. The Agricultural Development Program is one such initiative. It offers loans of up to about 5 million naira at low interest rate to eligible farmers. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security also offers subsidies for shrimp farming projects. These subsidies can cover up to 50% of the project, and total cost starting a shrimp farm can be costly, but with the help of these.
The Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria (ARCN) coordinates the activities of research institutes and is responsible for supervision, regulation, coordination of research activities and programs of higher institutions in Nigeria. And Professor Hamidu Shaributu, since assumption as Executive Secretary of ARCN in April 2020, has solidified the transformation of agriculture in Nigeria through strategic and meaningful execution of research findings for improvement of the agricultural sector.
The National Horticultural Research Institute (NIHORT) is one of the 15 agricultural research institutes in Nigeria under the supervision of the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria. The institute started in 1975 as the Fruits and Vegetables Research and Demonstration Center with the assistance of the United Nations Development Programme (UNDP). It metamorphosed to National Horticultural Research Institute in 1976. NIHORT headquarters is located on a sprawling 350 hectares of land at Jericho area, Ibadan. To have a national spread and outlook, the institute has 3 outstations and 2 experimental stations. The outstations are Mbato, which sits on a massive 810 hectares of vast land located in the humid zone of southeastern Nigeria, Bagauda in Kano, made up of 110 hectares of land in the semi-arid zone of northwestern Nigeria, and finally a 156 hectare of farmland in Otukpo, Benue State.
National Horticultural Research Institute (NIHORT) has developed, registered and released 3 new varieties of tomato which are tolerant to Fusarium wilt, root knot nematodes. They are high yielding, early maturing with good nutritional values. These newly released tomato varieties are Otitum 1, Otitum 2 and Otitum 3, and they are adapted to different agroecological zones of the country. To minimize post-harvest losses, the Institute has developed value-added products from tomato, such as tomato paste, dried tomato slices, tomato wine, as well as tomato juice. The Institute has also developed Tuta Trap Tray to control tomato leaf miner, also known as tomato Ebola. Additionally, biopesticides have been developed in the Institute, known as NIHORT Liptol, NIHORT Ractine, and also the NIHORT Sticky Traps, which are effective in the management of tomato.
Many thanks for staying with us on the program Aqua Farming. Of course, we'll be discussing how to go into shrimp farming. As of the year 2002, Nigeria ranked in an income of $56 million from shrimp farming, in spite of the low production levels. With increased production, favorable climatic conditions, stolen wild capture, and a wild demand-supply gap, there is the potential for an annual income of over $384 million to be generated from shrimp production, making it a most viable and worldwide. With that, we come to the end of this episode of the program Aqua Farming, where we'll look at shrimp farming business setting up in Nigeria. My name remains Joshua Ishaya. Bye for now.